Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bryony if you've never been here before. On Tuesdays we do deep dives into the environmental, social, ethical issues with the beauty industry and beyond. And then on Sundays I do content around like products that I've been using for a while and I want to review them for you because my skin is problematic, so if it can work on my skin it can probably work on yours. Everything that I use here is cruelty free, vegan, not owned by parent companies that test on animals, and all of the products I've used on my face right here to create this look whilst we're diving into this issue is listed in the comments down below. This is my Easter look, and if you do recreate it, please do tag me on Instagram because I'd love to see it. I actually really love the way this look turned out at the start. I was very nervous, but super happy with it. Anyway, as you know, what we are talking about today is haul videos and why I personally think that they should stop. And I'm a solutions focused person, so not only do I point out the problems with the world, I point out some solutions. So if you watch the video all the way to the end, you'll then find out if you are a content creator that creates haul videos, what you can actually do instead of like just buying stuff all the time. Like, I've got some really good ideas that I think could really work well. Okay, without any further ado, let's jump straight into the video and create this look. Let's get into it. Let's have a talk about why it's actually here. Why have we had like such an influx of hauls? It's probably been since like, what, like 2014? So for me, this comes down to things like flex culture, the whole thing where you are not allowed to wear the same outfit. This kind of gives me like real high school vibes. Privileged high school vibes, but high school vibes nevertheless. There's of course fears of being irrelevant, because a lot of the times, like we've talked about in many of my other videos, like women, we're taught that we're only worth something like for a short amount of time, and your kind of worth is based on your looks, which in my opinion is not exactly right or ideal or good. And then of course you're seen as being unfashionable if you're not following the latest trends, which do change all the time, especially in fast fashion. Like, you get new entire collections every 2 weeks, or even micro collections every single week. And of course, the bigger thing, which not many people really want to face into, is the fact that these videos get clicks. And I'm part of like a couple of online communities which are based around like smaller YouTubers wanting to grow, and so many of them actually do haul videos because they know that haul videos will actually get them a lot more views. Whether they're good views, bad views, whatever, people really want to see this content still. I really want to talk about the social issues to do with like these whole haul videos and everything now. One of the biggest things that strikes me, and I'm just going to put a bit of a trigger warning here about ED, so click out to this time if you can't handle that. A lot of the times these videos are promoting skinny equals pretty, and so that's one of my biggest concerns for these content creators, because you're creating this content. Sometimes I do really wonder whether the primary objective of these videos is more to objectify the person as opposed to showing off like the construction, the artistry, the versatility of like a garment and like how skillful it is or whatever. Because the way that they're staged, it's more of like a here is my body sort of thing as opposed to like a garment focused thing. And then of course we need to think about the mental health of these people, because if you are constantly putting yourself online, it's not the fact that you're opening yourself up to it, it's just the fact that comments can be cesspools. I've definitely experienced this, I know that other people do, but I feel like especially in hauls, because you do get a lot of people that are they're just assessing your body. It's just something that people have been told is okay to do, which I do not agree with. You've got people commenting saying, oh, you got fat, oh, I think you were so much prettier when you were younger. Say if you're someone that's been doing this for many years, you are just being critiqued on your body as opposed to like skills at creating the content or whatever. So a lot of people are defending these haul videos because of the whole accessibility argument. Now to me, it is not accessible to own and promote excess, because no one can afford to live the way that these like typically girls are. The entire accessibility argument kind of focuses on the fact that these are fast fashion brands which are like accessible everywhere, whether it's like Primark, Boohoo, like ASOS. All of these brands are so much easier for people to get to, and they're very cheap items, and I understand you wanting to make sure that you're creating content that is accessible to your audience, but it's just the level of consumption from these shops is not accessible at all. Because say for example, people may have like $100 to be able to like go get like a few outfits. and then they're spending like $1,000 at H&M, a pretty little thing, at like whatever. I'm gonna be a little unpopular as well now, because I also have an issue with charity shop hauls, because people are going there and then they're not actually trying on the clothes or properly assessing them. You're just like, oh yeah, that's cute, I'll just grab that. Actually, a lot of people have done really good content on people that are gentrifying charity shops, and like, I do understand issues around it, but we also need to face the fact that it is the bigger conglomerates that are the ones that are causing these issues, not people that are just trying to make a living to try and get by, because middle class is shrinking and all the other issues around the fact that no one can afford to be a person anymore. My biggest issue with charity shop hauls is just the fact that you've got these people that are just going and grabbing a whole bunch of stuff. They know that it's cheap and they're like, I spent like $500 there, and then you're taking it home and then maybe returning it. So this actually creates more work for the people working at the charity shops, which is why I'm such a fan of like trying things on beforehand. Or say, for example, if you're buying secondhand online, like I always like to see the clothes on. Like, there are really good retailers that make sure that they do that, but it's like, if you're just going on this massive spending spree, massive haul, then you're taking those opportunities away from other people, because it's like, you don't need as many clothes as what you may think. Like, it's okay to like wear the same outfit. It all comes down to that same sort of like issue. I don't want any of this to come across as like me hating on influencers. Just because someone is working a non-traditional job doesn't mean that it's not hard work. I create videos every week. I work full time. I run a household. I know it is blinking hard to like create content and work and do all of that stuff. I know all of the stuff that goes into the behind the scenes of like creating videos. I'm not trying to discredit people, and people that are, honestly, like, don't hate on what you don't know about. So I want to talk about the bigger issues, and I'm just going to put another trigger warning here for SA and the R word and basically those sorts of issues. Because sadly, clothes are cheap for a reason. Now, I know that that sounds really grim to say. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, like, we understand that it's made like kind of exploiting people, but I'm sure that you're paying people enough in their own country. Sweetie, I'm sorry, but you've got like these multi-billion-dollar companies who are actively taking advantage of and creating the rules in these third world countries. Like, you've got places like Bangladesh, India, Vietnam, all sorts of countries that are trying to actually give people jobs, and to be able to do that you have to cater to the Westerners still, because colonization just took down so many people. I'm sorry for the fact that I'm English. In these situations, not only have we dealt with buildings collapsing, buildings catching on fire, people working in incredibly unsafe conditions, you are also dealing with the fact that a lot of the people that are working here are women or younger girls. A lot of sexual assault happens. People are penalised heavily for the fact that they have their periods, for example, which is disgusting. Also have happening, I'm just going to have to block out so many of these words, but the issues around the level of sexism is not only just like discriminatory, it's actually really dangerous. And so these fast fashion companies are like, oh yeah, well, don't worry, we make sure that we have people on the ground there to make sure that things are fine. They rarely allow third-party auditors to go in there and check out the situation to make sure that people are actually safe. If you are prepared for an inspection to happen, you are going to make sure that things are looking great. That's why when it comes to business, I'm not a fan of like warning businesses that, hey, by the way, I'm on my way to like try and find out what abuses are happening in your company. Would you mind like just sweeping that under the rug before I arrive? Like, because that would be really good, so then we can actually continue on like with exploiting people. Like, we know that in order for these products to be cheap, they have to be exploiting people. We talked about this in my You'll Never Be an Ethical Shopper video or ethical consumer video. We talked about that issue. Governments haven't stepped in yet. Like, no one's stepping in to control these companies, and you just let the companies get away with it because they make so much money, not only for the country that they are exploiting, but also in the countries that they're then selling to. Like, they're buying huge pieces of real estate. They are providing jobs for people, but none of it's good. Everything is bad. returned clothes. So you know how like these hauls happen and people are like, oh, actually I think I'm just going to return this one and I'll return that one. Actually a whole bunch of this I'll return, but I want to keep this one and this one. With these return clothes, when they actually get returned back, this is different to when I worked in fast fashion. So for example, when I worked in fast fashion, when we had clothes returned to us, unless they were completely soiled, which did happen because people wore fake tan. There was one time when someone had a poop stain in a dress. I've dealt with pit stains, all sorts of stuff, people ripping stuff. That's the stuff that you can't resell. When it came to fast fashion, when I worked in it like a decade or more ago. But nowadays, when you're actually returning it, you can't sell a lot of those clothes on, so they just go straight to the trash. So not only are these people like buying a boatload of things, returning most of them, and then that stuff is just going straight to landfill. So obviously to me there are major issues with this because none of it is actually sustainable or whatever you want to call it. Everything is done in a way where it's just creating trash. Same as with makeup hauls. This is not just about fashion. This is about people that are doing like huge makeup hauls. Now in New Zealand we cannot return items, but I know that a lot of my followers in America, but you hopefully know by now that when those products are returned, they go straight to trash. Not only do they go to trash, they get ruined before they go to trash so that people can't dumpster dive and then use them. Just more ways to vilify the people that are needy. Haul videos are based on massive amounts of consumerism and huge amounts of access, and neither of those are like really good building blocks for a society that we should be creating, at least not in my opinion. So ultimately fast fashion companies need to change their entire structures, and that isn't going to happen unless people give them feedback, unless people are saying like, this is my problem with fast fashion, unless people are not supporting them, highlighting the issues, like all of that stuff. Yes, it does take more work, I do understand that, and yes, there are third parties that are absolutely highlighting these issues and trying to make change. I just don't really see much of a change if we've still got this glorification of consumerism and temporary. So to me, governments just need to have a backbone for once and actually do something about all of these atrocities. But of course we have lobbyists, we have people that pay to get people into parliament. Like, you can't become a politician without having rich friends or fundraising. So who are you going to take the side of? You're going to take the side of the people that are giving money and promoting jobs and whatever. And sadly, these massive fashion companies have a lot of stakes in these areas. Same as the oil companies, same as meat and dairy industries, same as a whole bunch of stuff. Like, there's a whole bunch of like basically screwed up things that are allowing governments to be manipulated, to not do the right thing, listen to the scientific consensus, etc. Listen to the people and do the best things for the people. Let's now discuss what these creators can actually do to like change their content if they are wanting to move away from it. So I could go into In a Perfect World and start quoting Lion King 2. I don't really see that as happening though. You want to keep shopping at these places for accessibility reasons for your viewers. Okay, fine, that's cool. What about you actually set a budget, you let people know your budget, and then you go through the entire shopping process with them and share how you're making this budget work? Because if you're saying that you want accessibility, let's make this accessible, shall we? So what about having like a capsule wardrobe? So then you only do the shopping every season, so that's 4 shops per year. I know I'm asking for a lot. I'm not asking to not shop every darn day. But then by using that, you're actually showing people, oh, this is how I can create this really useful, practical capsule wardrobe and go around those sorts of things. I am demanding creativity here. Now, I just said I know how hard it is to create content on YouTube, but if these people are truly passionate about fashion, then there are absolutely ways to tie that in without having to resort to just shopping all the time. Like, I watch content creators that make clothes and I find that stuff very entertaining. If people just thought about how they can incorporate their existing clothing into new outfits, how you can update stuff, can you alter it, can you add some individual flair to it? It's not just on about like a t-shirt and a pair of jeans and it's an outfit, because Miasaurus, like, her channel is hilarious if you're not subscribed to her yet. It's like, is it fashion or is she just skinny? So you can even come up with like different outfit ideas. So say for example, I used to work in fast fashion. I did that for like 4 years just in fast fashion. I also worked in a fabric shop, and so I understand the struggles of like all of this stuff coming in all the time and you're constantly wanting to buy stuff, because I was that person. Fully agree, fully understand. It's a bit of a toxic place to be in, to be honest with you. Anyway, so what we used to have to do as like an exercise was you had to create scenarios for outfits. So for example, you had different events to go to, you had different personality types to cater for, you had different body types to cater for, or even like what's been happening online, like with the whole Wink Saga thing, like how you would dress these characters differently and how you would dress if you were this character in XYZ show, movie, whatever. Like if you're really interested in like fashion, character design, that sort of stuff, you're welcome for the free video ideas, because I love content like that. What about like upcycling and turning worn out clothes into something new? Like, because we know that fast fashion falls apart quickly. We already covered that, like I said in my other video. And so it's like, well, why can't you actually just find ways to use them in many different ways? And actually, I don't know, when they're starting to fall apart, what can you do with them to repurpose them? So if you really want to stick with fashion because you're really passionate about it, but you're finding that there's like some issues around the sustainability side of it, why not actually make videos telling brands, like assessing like the clothes that these different like sustainable brands have, and just say why you wouldn't shop there, what you're looking for from them. And this is a really great way to give feedback to the sustainable brands, whether it's around like the shape of them, because I know that a lot of like sustainable clothing can be either just like leisure wear, or it is like baggy and just, it's not really fashionable or even flattering, at least not for like me. I like tighter fitting things, I like colourful things, I want things that aren't just in black. I actually just want to look like a candy princess the whole time, if you couldn't already tell. So it's like, there are definite like things that turn me off sustainable fashion as well. So why not actually create these videos and say like, if I ran a sustainable fashion brand, this is what I'd do. You can of course bring the price issue into it. I know that the price is a big thing that turns people off it, but at the same time it's like they cost this much because they're actually paying people properly and they're actually getting fabrics in a way that is more sustainable and not like killing people in order to do so. Conclusion time. In my opinion, creating content that is entirely based on constant, excessive, needless consumerism is not only bad for the individual, their audience, and the environment and the future that we're trying to create in order to have like a world where people can still survive in 50 years. Now for me personally, I don't really think that in the future people will look fondly on the overconsumption that has happened. The same way as like us now, we look back on the 80s and we're like, what the hell? At least I definitely am. And I'm like, is this something that we want to still perpetuate 40 years later? Doesn't it feel a little bit outdated to just be like, consumerism is the best? You know, like, that's just me personally. I would be really keen to hear your thoughts, because I know that a lot of other people are thinking the way that I do. This is not an original thought to say that whole videos need to like stop, which is why I am a solutions-based creator. I've tried to come up with different ideas, different things that people can do to like slowly ease their way out of it, because I know that when people change their content, like your viewership can drop, people may disengage from it, people will be like, oh, but I want the old you. It's like, people, like I keep saying, we learn, change and grow. So you are not going to be the exact same content creator as you were like 5 years ago. That's just not how people are. Which is again why people get mad at bands, etc, etc, like whatever. Just because you haven't changed doesn't mean other people don't. I'm really keen to hear your thoughts on all of this, and I will see you down in the comments down below. Last time, actually, leave the shopping bag emoji if you made it all the way to the end of this video, please. Don't forget to subscribe, because I come up with new videos every single week. On Tuesdays we do deep dives like this, and on Sundays if I've got products to review, then I will share those with you. So, without any further ado, stay safe, have a wonderful week, take care of yourself and your loved ones, and I'll see you again on Tuesday or Sunday. Who knows? Subscribe and hit the bell in case you miss out. Now let's get on to bloopers, because there's a few. God, I now need to create this same eye look on the next eye. Let's give it a go. Okay, gonna say something else kind of controversial. If you are, oh hey, stop fighting. So this is the same issue as, oh maybe I'll do glitter. Oh my god, I'll do glitter. Ooh. Stop right now, thank you very much. Okay, sorry. Anytime I think of like stop, Spice Girls. Oh my god, I need bunny ears. I should have them. First thing I found straight away. Boom! Easter look done. You're welcome.